Fit, we're rolling.
Hey, we are
What's going
rolling.
on with what's going on with you today?
Well, just catching up on a little cardio.
Okay.
Had me some mealage yesterday, and did some cardio before the meal, and some cardio after, and then some extra cardio just to make up from the festivities of yesterday.
I love it. I love it. I actually got to get up and down the court a little bit today.
Did
Um,
you?
yeah, 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 full court.
You used to
So,
play, right? You used to
yeah, something like that. It's not
humble, huh?
Oh, yeah, it's not all the way in there. I always figure, like, I probably am, like, mindsets away from everybody else, but movement-wise, man, yeah, I'm getting up there,
Okay.
and I'm not as fast
All
as I
right.
used to be for sure, but that's alright. We figure out how to get it done no matter what. As long as I can keep getting up and down the court, into my
Yeah.
50s, I'll be good with it. I'll be good
Yeah.
with it. So and then we got a nice little workout afterwards, so that was good too after that, went and did some lifting, so I'm satisfied. Yeah,
Nice.
after some good food yesterday. Did you have good food yesterday?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It
Yeah?
was my first turkey. I
Cool.
really made
You cooked
turkey.
one?
Yeah, and it came out good.
Okay, okay. What'd you
Yeah,
do?
I I just kept buttering it. I just
Yeah,
I just had this butter and I had some season in there. I just kept on opening it. I just kept and I poked some hole. I just kept sticking
yeah,
the baster in there and I
yeah.
just kept on buttering it up and
Uh-huh.
it
That's
somehow
good.
came out good.
So you were cooking in the oven?
Yep.
Nice, okay. So I put a turkey in the big green egg, which is kind of like a barbecue pit, a ceramic barbecue
Okay.
pit. And, yeah,
Okay.
we put a lot of butter in ours too yesterday, so everybody seems
Hmm.
satisfied. Yeah. But I love being able to cook and hang out. I was around the fire all day yesterday, and I forgot how relaxing that is. It was cool.
Hmm.
So, yeah. Man, Phil, we're in a new month. Can you believe we're on month 4 of our podcasting already?
I can
Um,
believe it.
and I'm loving it,
Yeah.
man. I look forward to us being able to meet up every week and us getting in this information and being able to share with everybody who's able to make it on. Welcome in, you guys. I'm glad you guys are able to make it. It takes a little bit of dedication to drop in here on the holidays, but even if you can't get on the holidays, it's recorded already, so you'll be able to get a chance to see it at any point in time. Welcome in. This month, our focus is all about being able to bring communication and intimacy to your relationship at a higher level. And we're going to start off by being able to shift from criticism to curiosity today. To me, that's one of the hardest things because it's such a fine line. We actually started touching on a little bit of the things that we could use for moving from criticism to curiosity last month. And so I'm super excited about that. But before we continue, um, us just being able to mention our meetup coming up this month, Fit, I think that's a big deal with our meetup. That's to me the biggest part of what we're doing right here.
Yeah. Our last meetup was very powerful.
Mhm.
We had the those that were in there in the meetup, we really got into depth about what exactly their situation was, got a thorough understanding of it, and really got some great clarity and some strategy moving forward. And
Mhm.
so it was a very powerful session that we had last time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You guys, and so we're welcoming you in. That was actually our last free meetup session. But we're actually getting into even our retreat, and that's something that we will put out information for as time goes on. But I'm super excited just to be able to provide people with that too. So huge deal, you guys. But let's get into our topic. I mean, it's so difficult for us to be able to sometimes not criticize because we care, and I don't know, everybody's taught different, but a lot of times whenever people care, that's the way they do it. I'm a sports person, and so I know being coached, like criticism is how they want to shape you, but your parents too accidentally criticize you because you're not doing
Yeah.
whatever's okay with them. But criticism actually creates kind of walls for us where his curiosity opens up more of the heart for each other. And I think for me myself, and you can go second on this, Fit, but I accidentally criticize even as a husband, like, it won't even have to be words, it'll just be a reaction. My wife might say something to me and I think in my mind like, that don't make no sense to me, right? And
Mhm.
that in itself, even that thought, if I don't say that out loud, is a belittling thought, and that speaks to some of the help that I'll give to you guys in a little bit. But if my wife says something in my mind, I can't be thinking like, well, that don't make no kind of sense, right? That's the wrong kind of approach to it, but it automatically ends in an accidental criticism, because
Mhm.
I don't know exactly how she feels, but I could assume that like her feeling on the other end is like, man, like that I'm belittled, or somehow like I don't make sense, or especially if my
Mhm.
reaction isn't open-hearted, and again, that's a clue to what we'll be able to talk about in a little bit. But I know I even accidentally, criticized to this day. So I know it's super difficult. And even though that's not my intention, um, it is the
Yep.
wrong way to go. Right.
Mhm. And it's so easy to criticize without even noticing it.
Hmm.
And being more aware of it, and when others do it, when you are sensitive to it and you see it so much,
Yeah.
it's it's well, it's something we'll get into, but it's that choice in that moment of when it happens,
Yeah.
even being on the other side of it, feeling it or saying it, experiencing it.
Yeah.
It's what you choose in those moments.
And it's so infectious in the relationship because, one person criticizes another one. And I always like to do the picture. So you start putting your forearms up, and the next person feels criticized because that person feels criticized, and so, yeah, it kind of, at the end of the day, you don't end up connecting. And I think that's what you guys got to look at in your relationships. You got to be able to see, like, oh, you know what? It's more about us not connecting than anything else. And so we really got to transition as much as possible. Okay. So what's interesting is we have questions or we'll get questions from our listeners. And so in this case, our message from our listener is like, my partner says I'm critical, but I feel like I'm just trying to help. Isn't that a common scenario? Right? It's a
Yeah.
super common scenario to say like, I'm just trying to help. Right? Do you ever see that in your practice fit?
No.
Not at all.
um, but it is that,
Mhm.
and in so in being in the right position to help is a matter of it. And so if someone's in a position to be, I'm ready and available to be coached or to be helped, then
Yeah.
yeah, I'm ready and available for it. Shout outs to my beautiful fiance. She's in the chat right here. Thank you so
Love.
much, babe, for coming in here. Got me
Yeah.
mesmerized. I actually just lost my
Oh,
train of
I
thought
don't
now.
even know what to say anymore. I gotta go.
I lost my train of thought. So what she does, comes in here and I just, the sight of her gets me off track. Um, what was I saying?
Well, actually, I was you while you were talking, it made me think of something. So I don't know exactly what you're saying, but here's what it made me think of is that I think people do try to help when they're in a relationship a lot of times, and they're trying to love. We just have a habit of minimizing people because we feel like we can just tell them how to behave. And if we tell them how to behave, then they can start doing that and everything will be okay for them. So, like, as an example, if one partner sees their other partner upset about something, let's say it's at work, and they say to them, well, why don't you just go to talk to this person and then that will fix that, da, da, da. So now you accidentally say, and depending on the person, you accidentally are saying, one is you're too dumb to figure that out, right, on your own.
Mhm.
And this is what the person feels who you just tried to help, right? And then two is, I missed all the emotions that you're going through and that you're just really having a hardship, right?
Mhm.
So instead of me trying to fix it, and here's a real reason why we fix it and why help does not feels more critical than anything, is because a lot of times us trying to fix it is really us trying to push away whatever challenge is going on.
Mm.
And our partners feel that. And we're not even conscious of that a lot of times. A lot of times we're just like, oh, I just heard them and I was trying to help them. No, you're trying to help so that you don't have to have a bad experience or see your person have a bad experience, which that's not a bad thing. It's just
Right.
that that's was the intention and that's felt. So I can see a partner saying like that someone trying to help is critical, right? And so
Mhm.
we just have to be more aware of what's going on. And there's a changeover for it. And as our list, to help our listener out, I think us breaking the pattern is kind of like the concept that has to happen. Is like I need to get to a point where um, the criticism that I'm doing isn't what I'm continuing to do. Instead, I really have to get to a point where I'm trying to connect more than anything, right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's a heart scenario. So here's the big answer to really kind of breaking our pattern is a lot of times you guys are trying to go into a situation and do it different. Like for instance, Fit, we're going to give them some things to practice later, and they're going to try to practice, but in their heart hasn't moved on what they want to do. So what is the opposite of us being able to criticize? We need to be curious about what's going on. And it
Yeah.
can't be curious in conversation only, like, it can't just be what I'm saying. It has to be, like, this real sense. So at the top of the conversation, I started out by saying, like, for me, there's a scenario of, like, that's not a good idea, or that, that doesn't work. Instead, like, if I was really into, let me just hear what my wife is saying, or let me see what she's experiencing. I'm just really curious, no matter what it is. Like, the things that she may have to say aren't going to move my world necessarily, but I want to see what's moving hers, right? So it's
Mhm.
that heart set or that kind of movement that we got to work really hard on to be able to break the pattern and understand like what people really mean by like I feel criticized.
Mhm. But it's an indication too, like when somebody says "ow," right, and they
Mhm,
go "ow,"
mhm,
right, it's kind of like saying, "Hey, I'm letting you know that I'm hurt over here."
mhm,
That, oh, okay, right, and it's not a matter of what to do about it because it's like, "Ow, I'm hurt. I'm not physically damaged. I'm not bleeding. I'm nothing's broken."
mhm.
But it's just, you, hey, are you all right? Yeah, are you okay? What happened?
Yeah,
Oh, then this happened. Oh man, did it, how bad did it get you?
yeah,
Yeah, got me, yeah, right. And it's just having that curiosity,
yeah.
but what we do is we automatically go, okay, well, what would I do? What am
Mhm,
I? And not even talking about like a pain situation like that, but it's like, what would I do? And we automatically start going into that and not realizing it. And then we get into that,
mhm.
just trying to help,
Yeah, yeah,
position again.
yeah. And it's interesting because curiosity does change the tone of conflict, you guys. Like imagine we get into an argument about something with somebody else. And if you could just start getting curious, like, wait, I just need to understand. And here's some practical, like we'll get into a little bit more later, but here's some practical ideas about questions that you could ask. Like in general, you could say, you know what, I know we're arguing, but I really want to sincerely see your heart right now. I just want to understand what it is that you're seeing. And I just want to take note of it. I'm not going to say that I'm going to fully understand right now, but I just want to try to take note of it. And that curiosity right there changes everything. So, what conflict can we have
Mhm,
now? Right? Well, you're trying to shut me down by saying that. No, no, no. I really honestly want to hear what you're saying. And so, if you
mhm,
could explain the best of your ability, and maybe we have to try it different ways, I'm just going to ask more questions so that you have the ability to explain more. Right? Now, when our emotions are up, our thoughts are down. So the things that I'm giving you guys right now have to be practiced before the emotions get up, or when there's a balance of emotion and thought, because otherwise we get to a point where we're trying to do this interaction and keep our heart in the right spot, but we already feel defensive, right? And so we can't be in that place. So we got to be able to practice that first. So to me, that's a practical way of being curious in any moment. Do you have another practical way, Fit? Not that you have to add one.
that was perfect.
That was good.
That was
Okay.
perfect. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So you guys just remember that, and this is a the reason that we're talking about this because a lot of times criticism creates some kind of defensiveness in your partner. And again, if you guys could remember this picture of the forearm going up, you say something to somebody, and all they have to do is feel criticized. It doesn't matter whether you're criticizing or not, they just feel criticized, and the forearm goes up, right? And it's not even something that they probably are consciously doing, it's just a nervous system. So we've talked in the beginning about traumas and like how we get hooked on things. And a lot of times you're just pulling on something that has already been experienced by them in their life at some point in time,
Yeah.
right? So their parent all their life um uh had something to say about everything they do. And you just give them a look. That's all you do, just give them a look. And then all of a sudden that nervous system kicks up. and this forearm goes up, and now we can't have a conversation. So we need to understand that's the other side of things, that a lot of times that criticism that we bring creates a certain kind of situation or reaction in the body. And I think that's really important for us to be able to focus on. Right. So how
Hmm.
do we lower it? And I think that that's a really important thing. If we are able to ask questions and we want to know about what people's heart set is, then everything changes, right? What's your experience? What's really going on for you? I care about that, right? And the more that we're able to do that, then we could replace that concept of like, hey, I'm criticizing with, I'm really curious about what's going on with you. All right.
So what can someone say then? I mean, I know those are things that we're getting into,
Mm-hmm.
but how does one approach that? Because that's a thing that I hear so many people say, and so like, yeah, I understand that, I get that, but like, what am I supposed to say? They can
Mm-hmm.
think of maybe one, two questions, to the common who's not, versed
Mm-hmm.
in communication like we are, right? We practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what are some common things that someone would be able to say in a moment like that?
Yeah. So I would actually start fit not with what to say, but with where to be in your heart. So where to be
Hmm.
in your heart is compassion, care, and then wanting to. I had this thought in my mind. I'm like, man, I need to write this. Like this needs to be somewhere in the book or something. Um, but a lot of times we're fighting for our position instead of fighting for our marriage,
Mm,
right? And when we start fighting for our position, or we're trying to understand somebody else's position or make somebody else's position correct, then our heart becomes the wrong spot. It gets into the wrong spot. But if we're fighting for our marriage, our heart is in a different spot.
mm,
So that's the beginning of the what to say scenario. A lot of times people are trying to figure out what to say, but our heart is in the wrong spot. So we
hmm.
feel, we really feel like an angst towards a person, or we've grown
Yeah.
resentment, or whatever those scenarios are, and we're trying to say the right thing, but what's really felt is a resentment, right? So
Mhm.
I would say let's position our heart correctly, because we're fighting for our marriage and we're fighting for togetherness and for compassion, and to be able to have that. And then once you're able to move your heart to the right spot through practice and through the things you say, like replacing whys with help me understand. So why questions automatically are accusatory by accident, and sometimes on purpose, right? So if you ask
Mhm.
somebody, why did you do X, Y, and Z? Automatically they hear, whoa, should I have not done that? Right. Versus, hey, I'm just trying to understand what's going on. I really don't care how it turns out or what it is that you were doing. That's not my point. I just want to see you. Right. And so now I've
Right.
replaced the why with, hey, I really just want to see you. And the more that you are saying, "Hey, I really want to see you," and you don't tack anything else on that with that. Oh, I knew that was what it's about, right? You can't tack anything else on it. Hey, I just want to see you. Okay, I got it. Is anything else I'm missing? Because this is what I summon from what you're saying, right? Now you guys can move together, right? Because there's even tricky things. Sometimes people will say, okay, well, let's replace it with help me understand what's going on, right? Because even that creates a demand. I don't understand because what you're doing doesn't make sense. So it's so tricky that our heart set is in the right place, because that is what's going to be felt. Okay. Does that
Mhm.
does that answer the question a little bit?
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
like move your heart to the right place in letting go of your own intention,
Hmm.
right? In your own what you're fighting, and you're saying fighting for a position. So you're saying fighting in that moment, thinking of like you're fighting for your own selfish position in
Hmm.
that moment rather than for the relationship.
Yep, yep, exactly, exactly. And if you think about that, if everybody stops and just thinks like you're in an argument, and I'm going to fight for my marriage instead of whatever I got going on, to be right, to be heard, to be seen, to get a different situation, to make them do something else, whatever it is, I'm just going to stop and think about, okay, what would I be doing right now if I was fighting for my marriage? Everything changes. If two
Yeah.
people say that, we cannot lose, right? If one person says it, who knows what's going to happen, right? We're halfway
Mhm.
there, basically, right?
Yeah.
But if two people say it,
Mm.
man, nothing can stop us. We need to be fighting for our marriage, and I think that changes everything. Okay. All right, let's get into an energy spike. Today we have criticism or curiosity. So we'll just kind of label out which one is which. Okay.
Okay.
So let's say this, let's use this first one. a husband tells a wife, "Why are you always late?" Would you
Mhm.
say criticism or curiosity? Or how was that felt the way I say it, at least? Let's put it that way.
Criticism.
Criticism.
I can see it, just that look in your face. There's something about the look in your. I can see it in your face,
You
Mr.
could see
Thomas Isaac Castro.
it, right? And the
The look
why
in
also
your
is
face.
a giveaway too, right? The why to me is also a giveaway, but the tone, you talked about tones
Hmm.
last time. You even gave a good example too about tones, about how that could shift with the same words, you know? So,
Because there's one in here.
mhm,
There's, can you walk me through what delayed you today? So that's the flip on it,
right.
right? And so that would be a better way of saying it. But also, if the tone doesn't match, right?
True. It's not
So
curiosity anymore.
rather than right, yeah, it's not, because then it's being demeaning, right? So then, can you walk me through what delayed you today?
Mhm, mhm.
Right. So it's kind of, all right. Rather than, and you can, and it depends on the person too, with how they want to receive it or how they are receiving it. You
Yeah,
know, can you walk me through what delayed you today?
yeah,
Right. And it's, but even that, can you walk me through? What do you mean? Like, I don't,
yeah,
someone can
yeah,
still take it, even though, right? And so, even though, but there is that factor in checking your own tone, and if you are in that heart
yeah,
place too.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Language is so important, because these different things like a demand on somebody can bring up certain kind of rises. We have to really care about the other person for sure. As we're kind of going through these, you guys got to switch that over in your mind. What were you thinking is an automatic criticism feeling. If somebody says, "What were you thinking?" Automatic criticism feeling. But again, not to like keep pulling on this, but the idea here is that what we're caring about in the moment really changes all of those things. So we have to get to a place where we can help people to feel less defensive and put their defenses down. And then the
I've
last one. Oh, go ahead. You have a
mhm.
question?
Well, I just seen it in the comment section, but
Nice.
please finish.
Okay. What was going through your mind? And again, this is the same kind of thing. So here's the thing that I would tell you guys as far as these comments go. I think that all of these could be considered criticism, if we're trying to use them as curiosity. And the real key is, as we, even though this is a little bit like a game trying to figure out which is which, um, the real thing is not the words that you're using, right? Because you could use these words, but that might not be something that's useful for your person. So that's part of the art of being able to communicate. Because if you say what was your going through your mind to a certain set of people, automatically, like those words don't bring on any kind of calm. But if you wrap it like, and I think this is a good wrapping on most of your conversation. Hey, this isn't about me being in charge of you or anything like that. This is only about me loving you. So I'm really curious. So I just want to open my mind and my heart to whatever you're about to say. And I do have a question to kind of know more about what you're experiencing. So if you guys
Yeah.
wrap things versus just saying things, it'll change everything for you. So make sure you wrap it, right? And you wrap it with, hey, this is me opening my heart. It's not me needing you to be something else or trying to fix a feeling for myself, right? And so the more that we can do that, I think, yeah, we're going to be in a way, way better spot from that. Okay. Anything else to add about our energy spike?
Yeah, it's it's all in the way you say it. It really is, and where you're coming from, and checking that,
Yeah.
checking your energy. But here's one. What can someone say, or how can someone approach it, right? And they want to be heartfelt. They want to put themselves in the right place, but when we're upset or we're frustrated,
Yeah.
when we get to that place, it's almost like we're locked. That emotion's locked in, and we know that we're going for a walk, getting some air, and right is the right thing to do. But it's like in that situation, it's not like we could just walk away from our partner, right? And we want to do the right thing in that moment, but it's just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what can one do?
Yeah. So first of all, proactive is always the best answer to doing better, you guys. So if you could be proactive, start now to do the things before you get in the argument. So pressure scenarios are going to bring you to your deepest held habits. So whatever you normally do, you're going to start reacting that way. So what do I normally do? That's so important for me to practice. Be at the gym constantly. So when it comes time to lifting 100 pounds, I can lift 100 pounds easily,
Yeah,
right? That's the
yeah,
test day. Okay, now I can do 100, but I've been working at the gym at it, so now I can do 100. Okay, I can't just go into the gym and do 200, right? 200 is the response part that makes it really difficult for me to respond correctly. Okay, so now that's the first thing. Proactive isn't always available because now we're in a situation which it's here, it's in this moment. So what do I do now, right? And in that moment, what I would say to you is see if you can switch in your mind. Look, I want this for my relationship. So I'm going to remove myself from the power struggle. I'm going to lose this one maybe for my relationship. So I might have to say less, but I'm going to communicate that. Look, I'm upset. I'm not in a place to really ask questions. I'm not in a position to be what Thomas and Fit want me to be right now. I'm not in those spots, right? I'm not in a spot to do all the things that I need to be. I'm just going to say that out loud. And I don't want to fight. I don't want to be in those spots, but I'm just not there, right? And
right,
that's totally okay because we don't have to try to push the button on trying to make these things work when our heart position isn't where it needs to be. We can get there, but we don't need to do more damage in the process of trying to do better, right? Instead, it's like, let's go ahead and put the weight down for today. I can't do 200 today. I can't do 200 today. Totally
mhm,
cool. I know I can't do 200. I'm coming back for it though, right? And so, but I'm going to put it down today and I'm going to lift what I can. What can I lift today? Today, I could just spend time and stay next to my partner. I'm not going to leave this situation. I could be here, right? So I think that's super helpful. Anything to add in there, Fit?
it's just interesting in how you work with your partner and how you learn to work with your partner and the little habits and behaviors and the things that we do. And I think that's just such an incredible concept, what you just said right there, and what to do in those moments,
Hmm.
in even if you're not there,
Hmm.
and saying you're not there.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not there right now.
Yeah.
And that's good communication. And then even now, and so then when your partner says that and how you receive that, and sometimes we want to be combative, like we just have that intention. Well, even though our partner is saying the right thing, but it's like it doesn't matter what our partner says in that moment. It's like we want to
Hmm.
fight, and
Yeah.
it's even important in that moment to check our heart too,
Mhm.
and our expectations of our partner in what answer they give us, what are we prepared to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally true. Totally true. It's not easy. Like I think that's why we have built the things that we're trying to build Fit, is because we know that it's a weekly reminder that's needed. It's a daily reminder that's needed. It's a process. It's constant, and so us keeping the gym open, so to speak, so that people have an opportunity to constantly strengthen is a huge deal. Did you end up with a question from someone the other day, or was it just a comment? I mean, earlier.
Yeah, I got some questions over here.
Okay.
One is coming in from my daughter 94. He says, I cheated and now my ex is withholding time with my son. How do I handle this? And so I'll go first on that one. Um, Something that a mentor told me a long time ago is when you do the right things will happen. And it is still continuing to focus on being a father, still continuing to focus, or on is not sure if it was that was a mother or father. I cheated in my act. So yeah, it's continuing to be a parent and
Mhm.
knowing that what happened, yes, it did in fact happen, and we cannot change the past, but we can make right of it by what we do now and who we become as a result of the past. And right now, it may take you becoming an incredibly understanding, patient, loving, dedicated parent right now, in trusting more now than ever that you keep doing the right things and the right things will happen. And we won't get into the legal aspect of it, but if we're going to go with that general concept, continue to trust in your heart. When you do the right things will happen, and they will. Okay,
I
so
love that.
that's what I say for that. Thomas?
Yeah. So, and I'll say this, along the same lines, Fit, is sometimes the things that you weren't able to do in your relationship with that person that you have a child with, you have to do now. So
Hmm.
now you have to become the person that you needed to be in the relationship, um, in order for you to experience a different life for you and your child, right? And so I know that's hard for people to think about, but in the ways that you might have not been able to get along before, it's now the child is it's more necessary now because you're going to have to figure out times away and times together and times not together. And so it really means we can't continue being the same person. And I think for anybody who's healing from infidelity, or they themselves are recovering from infidelity, um, there is a lot of opportunity for us to still grow as people. Does that guarantee where the other person's at? No, it doesn't. But I still think there's a whole lot of power in us just being able to focus on growing ourselves and doing the things that we need to do to be better in relationship. And so that is a huge challenge, I think, to everybody who is in a divorce scenario and has children. Is now is the time to do some of the things that you weren't able to do in your relationship. Be the person who would have made that relationship work, right? Not that you need to get back in the relationship. That's not what I'm saying. Be the person that would have made that relationship work. And you see that everything will change. I think people feel a lot better about interaction with the kids and those kinds of things.
Yeah. We have another one over here. Oh, shout outs to JIZ right here. Says, my guy, at it. You're killing it, bro. Much
Hmm.
love to you. Thank you
Hmm.
so much. That was going out to you, Mr. Thomas, I believe. But I don't know.
What are you on right there?
Here's another.
Is that
Here's
on
another one.
YouTube?
I'm not sure.
Oh,
I think
okay.
it's on the gram. I think I'm not sure.
Sweet.
Um, Here's one that says, "What if the person is saying I feel criticized, but because they don't want to do their work, but in reality they are not being criticized?"
Hmm. You want me to go first?
Yeah, if the
Okay.
person.
Yeah, I get that. So in reality, if a person feels, we're not going to totally like this answer, but stay with me. In reality, if a person feels criticized, they are being criticized. Um, that doesn't, just because I get criticized, and this is the hardship, if I get criticized, that doesn't stop me from having a responsibility to do better in my own life. Right. So, um, I would say that that person's telling you they feel criticized, it um, is a opportunity for you to be able to grow into somebody who can communicate better and more effectively, right? Um, and it all kind of goes together because if you know they need to do work and they're not doing it, you're probably frustrated because they're not doing the work. And so you see that they're not doing the work and you're fed up with that. It all makes sense. It all makes sense. Um, and so the heart set has to change here, right? So I might not be criticized. I might just be telling them what it is that they need to be doing. And that in itself could be a criticism, which is totally fine. That's not the goal of this. The goal to me is, can I just move to a part where I'm moving with somebody and caring about the relationship more about who they're being and what they're being, which is weird because it's like, well, don't I have to care about what they're being if our relationship is gonna go right? Yes, but it's not gonna work, right? So the only way that it works is you care about who you're being, and that's what helps the relationship go right. If you focus on what somebody else is being, it's not gonna help. Matter of fact, as long as that person gets to battle you, they never have to battle themselves. So by accident, for everybody who is trying to help and not necessarily criticizing, um, that gives the person the part that it gives them a way out because they're like, oh, it's my partner, right? Instead of, hey, I have a responsibility and there's a higher version of me that I'm trying to reach. And so I would let go of the idea that says that they actually do have to um, do work and that they should, I'm not criticizing and really it's their work that they have to do and they're avoiding. I would let go of that idea. And I'd work more on my heart set. People are more likely to change when you wrap your arms around them, not be kind, not be nice, but when you wrap your arms around them emotionally, they're more likely to change than whenever you're fighting them. Okay. When you're fighting them, they think something's wrong with you. When you stop fighting them, they realize all the things that are wrong with them, or they find somebody else to fight with. And so I think that's really important. It's hard to think about it that way. I know it's a foreign concept, but I really want us to move to that for our own heart. I'm not even doing this for the other person that our question person is asking about. I'm saying for your own heart to be create peace in your own heart and life, it has to switch in the mindset. Okay.
Hmm. And a lot of the times it can just be from frustration,
Hmm.
though our intentions are good, but we become frustrated,
Yeah.
and those emotions of frustration will then get sent directly to our partner, and then it doesn't matter what we say or do in that moment. It's just not going to be well received, because then it it's like we're shut down in that moment, and
Mhm.
so getting someone to open up is uh maybe again going to that, not trying to help but understand, and just simply be there.
Yeah.
And when I was a bouncer at a club out there, the cellar door, it was
Oh,
this
okay.
one I remember. This is where I would do this. So I'll perform this, and then over there at the back it was Club Fuego. I don't know if it still is Club Fuego.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I was bouncing. It was the Presidente out there
Oh,
in
okay. Okay.
Visalia.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, I do.
And I would bounce out there, and guys would get mad. Guys start getting into a fight. And
Mhm.
so, what do a lot of bouncers do when the two guys are about to get into a fight, or they're starting to, they grab them, and then a lot of the time that even gets them even more, hey, and wanting to fight back. Right? And so I knew that. So what I did, I would go over there to him like, hey, you all right, man?
Mhm.
Is everything okay, or
Yeah.
what's going on? You okay?
Mhm.
And, oh, what happened? Okay, man. Let's go talk. Let's go get some fresh air, man. Come on, let's get out of here, man. Right?
Yeah.
And I would just be on their side
Yes.
and talk to them and calm them down. And that would, I don't
Mhm.
remember that not working,
Mhm.
you know. And
Yeah.
so sometimes it's just going in there and just being on their side as much as you possibly can, whatever that may look like.
Yeah, I love that de-escalation, and more so that more than just de-escalation, it's moving with them, right? Instead of moving
Mhm.
against them. And that's
Yeah.
easy to happen whenever we know that somebody's not doing all that they need to be doing in their life and we care about them. And so that's a battle to do. And I think it's really important though that we do that battle. I love it. I love it. Do we have another question in the queue, Fit?
That's it. We're caught
Okay.
up for right now.
All
Hmm.
right, let's hit this weekly reset and give it to them. So the one thing I want you guys to be able to do this week is to be able to ask one curious question on a daily basis. Okay, so anything that you can think of, and this is how we get the practice to react in the moment, is because on a daily basis you're already curious about what's going on, right? And so before it's aimed at you or before you have a confrontation, you're just asking questions that might help, like what do you need right now? How can I support you? Hey, what is it that you're going through? Or things that mean that my heart is moving in a place that says it's open to hearing what's going on with that person. It's just a practice that we're able to do with each other. Okay. So I
Hmm.
love that as a reset. I think that it'll be huge for you guys to practice that. That's that lift that will get us to 200, so to speak. Fit, you want to give the word of the week?
Right here. Where are we at? Oh, there it is. Word of the week is curiosity. Right?
Yeah.
Becoming very curious in one's emotions, becoming very curious in what's going on, becoming very first curious to understand our partner first,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of the things we were talking about. I believe this is what we've been basing the whole show off of,
Hmm.
almost is
Yeah.
remaining curious and
Yeah.
not trying to help,
Yeah.
not trying to, right, enforce, rather than just sitting back and absorbing, collecting with.
Yeah. Yeah. You gave a story about being a bouncer where you being curious about what that person was experiencing changed the level of emotion that was going on. And you guys, as couples and in relationships and parenting and all relationships, if you are able to get curious, it helps to open up the door for heart talks and heart conversations, right? Like what is really going on. And in order for us to do that, we do have to brush back or pull back the weeds of like feeling defensive, of being hurt, of trying to win the situation. We got to pull back all the weeds on that. And the more that we're able to do that, that concept kind of goes up for us, and it gives us a chance to belong together. Okay. All right, Fit. Any final thoughts before we take off and let everybody go?
Yeah. Practicing the beautiful art of being selfless.
Hmm.
When we become curious, if we want to become curious, it would take us removing ourselves from the equation. And so, if I were to give just a little bit of unwarranted advice,
I love it.
unwarranted help, it
I
would
love
be to do that. And when we ask questions too, like going back to like the reset, maybe a specific question. And so, uh, how can I specifically support you in when you are doing that
it.
certain thing, right? Rather
Right,
than how can I support you, or how can I better support you on those days when you don't want support? How
right,
can I still support you on the days where you want to be on your own? Something
right.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like the specific part of that, that specific aspect of that. So it'd be huge for us to just start putting things in little by little that make you better, right? And the more that you guys are able to do that, then you build in your relationship. A lot of times you try to fix whatever is going on bad right now, but that's often not the best time. I remember I used to do that. I had an old Jeep, and this is the last thing that I'll leave you guys with. I had an old Jeep. I wanted it so bad because it was at the time when there was the song that went like, "You remind me of my Jeep." So I wanted a Jeep really bad. I got it finally, but it was horrible. It was not the
Oh,
thing. It was not the right kind of car to have. But anyways, so I kept fixing different things on it. You know, something would go out, I'd fix that thing, and something would go out, I'd fix that thing, and really like at the end of the day, it should have been like it should have been totally different. Instead, I should have got a car that was really running, or, I can really use that thing. And so it never got right. And I was always kind of behind it more than anything, right? Oh, I got to fix this. Oh, no, I can't do that because my car. And so if you guys stay ahead of the game, like be proactive and create the scenario the way it really needs to be, that changes everything. Now, I know it's life, it's not a car. So it's inevitable. Like problems are going to come up today, but get to a point where you're more proactive and where you can actually build on something, where you're building something versus constantly reacting to having to fix up what's going on. Okay. I think that's going to be huge for you guys to be able to
yeah. Yeah.
change your relationship. And we're here to do it with you. At the end of this month, we already actually circled the date, the day after Christmas, at 4 o'clock. We're gonna have our next meetup, you guys, and all focused around communication and intimacy. Um, this week, talking a lot about criticism to curiosity, but we're building that up until we get into our meetup on that last Friday of the month. So excited for you guys to be able to have that. Enjoy the rest of your day and your families, and we will talk to you guys soon.
Appreciate you guys.